We are back as I promised after that little short break. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's time for us to get down to the conversation of the day today. And as I mentioned, today we are tackling hidden scars. And it's basically based on looking at the effects of a dysfunctional family on an individual's life. And our focus will be on children and also teenagers because those are the adults of tomorrow. So that's what we are going to be tackling today. And we have Isaac Kamau with us. We had him before and he brought this place down basically with the conversation on the deception of suicide, and he is back again with another powerful book, The Marriage Puzzle, and that is what is going to form the basis of our conversation today, even as we explore this particular area. I believe it's important for such a time as this where we have so much going on in our nation even, and most of these things actually start from somewhere, and the family has a very big role to play. So let's get down to the conversation. Welcome. We are live on YouTube, so you can share that link with a friend. Just go to Hope TV Kenya, and also on Facebook, we are also live. Thank you, Isaac Kamau, for coming through.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm very fine.
After it's been a long time since we had you here.
It's been long. It's been so long.
And it feels like just the other day, honestly.
Yeah, imagine. Days are flying.
Days are flying.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're saying nowadays it's been a minute.
Ah, yes. It's been a second even. But you're back again.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We have The Marriage Puzzle with us.
Yeah, it's a new book.
Wow.
Maybe the newest or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, but please let our viewers know who Isaac Kamau is. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, viewers. My name is Isaac Kamau, and I'm a counseling psychologist. I'm also a father of 3 children, and an educator, a counselor, a pastor. Yeah, I think that's who I am.
An author? Did you
An
say
author? Yes, I'm an author. Currently, I've done 2 books.
Yeah.
The Marriage Puzzle and The Deception Behind Suicide.
Yeah.
And have more books in the heart. I'll keep releasing them one at a time.
Yeah.
By the grace of God.
Yes. Now, today, we've titled our conversation today, Hidden Scars. And, I'm really touched by this topic because I know that so many families are basically what people would call messed up, basically, because of maybe the union wasn't right and even how these people came to be, and there's just chaos, there's anger, there's just so much, and kids can end up growing in a dysfunctional home.
Yep.
So let's talk about the importance of even tackling this topic. Why is it important for us to talk about the effects of one growing up in a dysfunctional family?
Yeah, thanks, Beatrice. I must say that actually that's a reason as to why I wrote this book. Because after I've helped many people.
Yeah.
And one of the main causes of depression is a dysfunctional, maybe marriage, separations, also children growing in spaces where there are fights. The mother and the father are fighting. The next moment they are divorcing.
Yeah.
And they are separating. And so I was like, I had this view that if at all we do nothing about it, then the rates of depression are going to be very, very high. The rates of suicide are going to be very, very high.
Yeah.
Because it's the foundation. And at some point I was just curious to understand what happens to the brain of a person. When they are going through, or rather they're in that space where the family is not working. And the findings were very devastating. That the brain development, when a child is small, the emotional brain just develops cracks. I can call them cracks, and they're also what we call trauma. Child trauma, and so many things are affected. You talk of learning, the ability to draw attention even in class, the ability to have a normal social life, and that's how even funny personalities are formed from childhood. You find that the kid has grown up, they've become mature, but the faculties of the social faculties, the education was affected. And also you'll find that like if, for example, I divorce, the chances of my son divorcing are like 7 times higher than mine, because there's also what we call social and emotional learning. It's like, Beatrice, if you're with a sad person, you'll definitely become sad.
That's true.
If somebody angers you, like now they call you a bad name, you feel like, wow, I can teach this guy a lesson or something. That's how people fight. Yeah, you've seen in situations where where people are like, no, I mean, the emotions, they travel very fast, and they are very lethal. Yeah, so I got that burden, because now again, I'm sometimes I'm handling a lot of cases of divorce. People are just like, I'm tired. I'm tired. I think I made a mistake, and I want to quit. And so many people are quitting. But I realized that this quitting is is something generational. Maybe they are also coming from dysfunctional families. Maybe their parents were misbehaving, and so they've taken that same, especially because of this SEL, social and emotional learning. LP people taking the, without their knowledge. It's not something like you just learn. I mean, it's something that is so subconscious. It's like a software that is installed without your knowledge.
Yeah.
And so they are now passing to their children. The children will pass to their children, and their, like that. And if you look at today's society, we are more, interestingly, Beatrice, everything else is advancing, but humanity is really depreciating. Like technology is really top.
Yeah.
Talk of the kind of cars that are available, the electronic ones. But when it comes to humanity, it's really degrading at a very fast rate. There has never been as many suicide cases as today. There is no depression like now. There has never been any level of depression like now. Yet there are antidepressants. I mean, there is medicine, the education. But one of the reasons, I'll answer that, is because of dysfunctional families. Because in the past, our gukas, however, maybe someone had 2 eyes or 3, they were somehow stable. Their families were stable. And one of the pillars of humanity is families, because we are very social, and we need that social support, we need that emotional support from a family. Yeah, so that is what really pushed me to do the book. It's also based did some good research, scientific research, and yeah, I think that's why we're here.
Wow, I mean, that's a powerful introduction to it, because you've opened our eyes to the reality on the ground and what is happening. And maybe in layman's language, maybe to someone who is watching and maybe they're wondering, could I have come from a dysfunctional family and yet I do not know? So what constitutes a dysfunctional family?
Yeah, so you'll find that in a dysfunctional family, especially today, when you look at separations and divorces, when you experience your dad and your mom fighting, that in itself is something that is so traumatic.
Yeah.
And it really hits the faculties of your emotions and of your mind. Yeah, so the way sometimes the way conflicts are resolved, you like, I was studying of something called learned helplessness. You learn to be helpless, and it sticks to your mind. And actually, that's one of the main causes of suicide. Like, you've literally learned to be helpless. So anytime you get maybe a challenge, that's why you'll find some people saying that they can never get into some spaces.
Yeah.
Because whenever they try, anytime even that thought comes, for example, and even this, what we call, even like something like poverty. you've learned to be helpless, like you can't do anything about it. And anytime maybe a thought comes, I can make a deal or something, or I can invest, then something hits you very fast. Hey, don't try this at home. you know in a dysfunctional family, there's a lot of learning, but the learning on a negative perspective, negative emotions. Talk about sadness, like I've talked about helplessness, talk about like talk of neglect. One of the main causes, that's something that has really messed up people, is that they're neglected. You know,
Yeah.
and I can say like something like divorce is worse than death in terms of what happens to the mind,
Wow.
because in most cases, like, death has closure.
Yeah.
But most people, while like they separate or divorce, they don't give even the kids a chance to mourn
That's true.
because it's not treated as something so serious. But it's worse. What it does to the mind, it's worse. Yeah. So those are some of the constituents of dysfunctional family, separations, divorces, conflict resolution, bad conflict resolution, talk of helplessness, talk of neglect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And it seems to me in the world we are living in today's society, that's like the norm.
It's the norm. Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah. People are very careless. We are very careless.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a challenge in future.
Yeah.
I tell you, Beatrice, most people have destroyed their lives because someone feels I'm not loved. You see, again, like if I'm not loved in my family setup, where else? There's a lot of expectation from my family that this is where I find love. So then these guys, now we're in a busy process of separating, divorcing, and all that. So you'll find like a 70-year-old man who is complaining that their dads never loved them, and then you're like, you are 70, you are the one that who is supposed now to be loving or something. Yeah. But it's because the mental, there was a weakness that was created in their brains. Someone is at 70 still complaining, I'm the last born. I mean, that weakness is created in the brain, and it was also not addressed. Because you'll find that many people will just do things the way they feel, or the way they, especially feelings. Emotion is about feelings. I feel like divorcing. We feel like this. We feel like this. And you do things out of feelings. And then the consequences basically are there. So it's a society where this is a big challenge, and it's going to continue to be a big challenge, because it's like a virus that's really multiplying.
Yeah. And unfortunately, one cannot be what, it's very hard. It can be possible, but then being a good father when you yourself was not fathered well,
Yes,
becomes a big issue.
it's a big issue. It's a big challenge. Yes.
And I think that is where we are at.
Yeah.
Whereby, parents don't even know how to parent because they were not parented.
Yeah.
And I would want us to flip it on the other side. What is a functional family? How does it look like? I don't know if that's the opposite of dysfunction.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I got that right.
Yeah, you got
but
it
let's
right.
talk
Yeah.
about what a functional family looks like. Because again, we have to highlight the fact that families are not perfect. But just because they're not perfect doesn't mean they're dysfunctional. So where do we draw the line? And what would we say? This is just a functional family that is just struggling a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. And like as a psychologist, one of the main success and building blocks of a human being is positive emotions. Positive emotions, I mean, we are controlled by our feelings, by the things happening around us. For example, if you watch a sad movie, you are likely to feel sad,
Yeah.
and it will affect you. It will even affect your behavior.
True.
And so, positive families is something I've addressed in the book. It's based on positive feelings. For example, one of the main emotions is love. Love, you will feel good that you're loved when you love yourself. Talk of joy. How do you derive joy? Like, I want to go home because home is the best place to be. After I've faced a lot of disappointments at job, maybe businesses and all that, can I go back home and have that support? That's just seeing my kids, seeing my family. Can I be able to derive that joy? Talk of an issue like gratitude. How grateful am I, and all that, yeah? Because the opposite of positive emotions is, of course, negative emotions. And people do a lot of things to try to create positive emotions, and that's why people get to drugs or alcohol, because they are trying to build up the positive. There is that reward of the dopamine, and they are trying to. That's how even addiction comes. But for me, a positive, functional family, or rather, a functional family is that family that is able to build up positive emotions, and also maintain them, keep them lasting, because you can again, some people will be happy now. At this point they're happy, the next moment they are sad, this moment they're happy. And building positive emotions is a skill that also takes some time to learn, because, like, maybe let me give an example. There's an emotion of maybe sadness that's also connected by disappointment. So, for example, for men, they support teams, those ones who love football. So you'll find a man who loves maybe Manchester United, for example. And then now they carry that with ego and all that. Then Manchester United finishes almost number last. So now this guy is one, sad, disappointed. Actually, if you watch these guys after a match, hey.
In fact, there's one wondering, why are you using Manchester United as an example?
Yeah, somebody already now is hating me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Just forgive me, I'm just giving an example.
They're saying use Chelsea.
Hey, I use Chelsea, yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
It's because I also support it. So we are many, by the way.
Okay.
You are not alone. And I realized anytime because I was there as well.
Yeah.
And I was really getting sad after a match. After every match, every weekend, I would come out very disappointed. Yeah. And now, today, I become a person who supports the team that wins. Whether it's which team and which team, I'm assured by the end of that game,
Yeah.
I'm celebrating. We have won.
Whoever.
I'm always winning. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good switch.
A good one.
Yeah.
Let me give an example.
Yeah.
There was a time Nigeria was playing with South Africa, and Nigeria scored early, and then around the 90th, 89th minute, South Africa scored. So these guys went for an extra 30 minutes. Within the 30 minutes, 4 Nigerians had died. 4 Nigerian men had died because of the worry, the anxiety.
Are you serious?
Yes. And the most interesting part is that Nigeria went ahead and won.
Oh my.
After these guys had died, So that's how stupid emotions are. They are not able to reason. They are just not able to balance. Like, for example, yeah, these guys have scored, but we might score. Those who are emotionally stable were able to hold for the 30 minutes. But those ones who are not stable died. So that's what emotions do. Because this special talk of fear, talk of anxiety, blood pressure, the flow of blood between the vessels and the heart, and all the pumping of the heart and all that, yeah. So building a positive family, for example, it needs not only being able to create that positivity in the house, but at a personal level.
Yeah.
How equipped am I to be happy regardless of the things that are happening around me?
Right.
How much capacity do I have to deal with the adversities that are facing me on a daily basis? After I experience a loss
Yeah.
of maybe even a close person, can I still maintain a balance? Because a guy, when their team has been beaten, will go home without realizing it's the frustrations of the match, start fighting at home. So because it's a pile up, it's a myriad of negative emotions. And because emotions are not learned, they're just foolish. They just cause us to behave and to act. That's why you'll see people murder, people assault, because there's no balance, there's no intelligence
Yeah.
in the emotions. So for me, a happy family is a family where everybody has built up their emotional capacity. They've been able to build positive emotions, because adversities will always be with us.
Yeah.
We are facing so much. We are facing a lot of losses. Even as a country, we are losing a lot. As individuals, we've lost businesses. I've lost business. I've lost opportunities. But still, even in those situations, can I still be able to have that capacity to still be happy, not to sink into depression?
Yeah.
I think for me, that is what constitutes to a good family. Because sometimes you'll find we don't have money,
That's true.
but can we still, can we
Yeah.
still have that ability to still smile? Can we lower our budget and maybe we were eating meat every day and lower the budget and say
Yeah.
we can now just do with mbogas and maybe ugali or something?
Yeah. And be okay.
And be
Even with
okay.
that.
Exactly.
I believe that's what we need, because the truth is there are things we cannot avoid.
Yeah.
The realities of life are there, and things are tough, honestly, on every corner.
Yeah.
And maybe let's talk about spirituality and the role it plays with ensuring that a family is functional. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, wow, that's a good one. For me, it's very critical for me to remain connected with God,
Yeah.
because I've ever been in situations where there's nothing, I had nothing, I'd lost everything. But that ability to hold on, that there's a higher power. And for me, that's the biggest win of my life. That there's one I can depend on. There is a powerful Father who is able to. I was reading this verse that we do not have a high priest who is not unable to sympathize
Yeah.
with our weaknesses.
That's true.
But that knowledge, when I'm going through so much adversity, that there's a high priest who is sympathizing with my situation, keeps me going. It keeps me going. And I remember when I wrote this first book, the deception behind suicide. One of the chapters here is called My Encounter with Faith. One day, I felt, wait a minute. I just had a voice of God telling me that you are not a victim. You are a psychologist. But then I wasn't a psychologist. And so I was like, oh, so there's Isaac and there's a psychologist. So my name is not even Isaac. I told Isaac, sit down. Let me now advise you on how you're going to face life. Sit there and listen carefully. Me, I'm not a victim. I've come to help you.
Yeah.
And so I started telling Isaac about faith. And I said that, you know what? I might be where I am today, but in the next 2-3 years, I'll be somewhere else. I am on the journey to my destiny. My story will become a winning tool. It will be a smile. Whatever I'm going through today is for my future. God has my life in His hands. He's building me. He's working out things, and I'm going to become one of the best psychologists in the world has ever seen. I'm going to author. By then, I had not authored. I'm going to become an author because of my pain today. And so I take in this pain and I rejoice. I'll use this pain to build up the chapters. And now, years later, the Isaac I was talking about is the Isaac we are having today. So faith, that assurance that, it will be okay. It's okay, actually. It's only a season. And this season is coming to an end, because there is also a God of seasons, who is not only a God who just, helps us to be in good spaces, but also in the bad spaces. The God of the valleys being also the God of the mountains. And so spirituality is very critical to build godly families. Because I believe I am a family. First, Isaac is a family by himself. I've got a lot of, I'm a system. And if I'm not okay, there's no way I'm going to build another family with my other people, whether it's at work or at home or with my children. So we cannot succeed when we have not succeeded at a personal level. And so spirituality for me is very critical. I hear people say there's no God. I'm like, wow, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Yes.
That's true. It's such a vital part of ensuring that we have functional families, and not just family, but even to the individual. And I think we're going to take a short break. I see time is far much spent, just 2 minutes to 8:30. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we're still going to be exploring more on this topic and conversation. So for our viewers, if you're watching and you have any questions, please do send them our way. The number is 0708 222 323. Let us sip a glass of water. You can grab one as well. We'll be back in a bit.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live. Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live. You know we can't forget them. And neither can you. Enjoy all-time classics every Thursday at 11 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to Hope TV, your go-to channel for hope, inspiration, education, and wholesome entertainment. At Hope TV, we are committed to knowing God and making Him known through powerful media content. We truly value you and are dedicated to serving you better. For feedback, inquiries, or complaints, reach out via WhatsApp or SMS on 0708 222 Email us at customerexperience@hopefm.org. Hope TV, look and live. We are back and tulikuwa tu tunajaribu kufanya tongue twister kidogo ya ndoa bora na bora ndoa. Well, you have to say it slowly. But anyway, we are back. We have Isaac Kamau with us, and of course the focus today is hidden scars, and it's basically touching on the lives of individuals who have grown up in a dysfunctional family. What effects are there? What does their life look like later on? So that is what we're discussing today. And of course, in the first bit, we really touched on the introduction bit of it. And of course, we touched on spirituality and how it plays part in ensuring that a family is functional. But we want to continue with this conversation, and especially now to just go back to the basics, to where it all begins. I remember growing up, there was a wall art that we had very long time ago. I mean, I think I was probably 8, 9, 10 years. But I remember that wall art. It said, wedding is a day's drama, but marriage is a full life ministry. So we had that in our house, and I kept looking at it over and over again. It's almost like I wanted those words to permeate through my heart, but I didn't really understand what that meant. But I crammed it. It was in my heart. It was in my head that wedding is a day's drama, but marriage is a full life ministry.
Yeah.
And that has been something that has formed the foundation of my life in marriage. That is how impactful it was.
Yes.
And I want us to talk about that
Yeah.
because I believe it's important.
Yes.
You have a chapter here that talks about wedding versus marriage, and you also have a chapter about choosing right. Let's talk about what's a wedding, what's marriage, and why is it important for us to choose right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's one of the chapters that is wedding versus marriage.
Yeah.
And my finding, and the reason I wrote this chapter is because I think people have majored on the minor and minored on the major. Because it's like, even why do people marry? I think it starts there. Why would you marry a person? Is it because you feel, that was the first chapter, why you marrying? Is it because of pressure? People can give you a lot of pressure, especially if you are a church guy.
That's true.
And every of your peer is gone.
Yeah.
And then you having a lot of pressure. Hey, wait, why? What is it? What's the problem? We will help you. We will come for fundraising and such. And so I found out that, the marriage part is not understood. And marriage is not, like, when we get to 25, 26, 27, people look at us and then you're like, you're a mature person, you should marry. But maybe I have beards or something. Now it's like, that's a qualification to get married. Or I'm tall or something. But I've come to realize that the only qualification is the mind. It's like, I've written, it's like you are sitting for an exam and you've not prepared for it. Yeah, and there's a time I gave an example where one day just a funny voice told me that I'm a genius. We had an exam. Just felt, look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm a genius, by the way. Do I keep on studying all the time? Can't just be passing these exams. And I didn't study. I tell you, I scored a very strong E.
Wow.
And until the teacher asked me, what is it? Come, we talk. Are you okay? And I'm like, well, that's the time I knew now I'm not a genius. I have to really study for me to get everything that needs to be answered.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same thing where guys and girls and boys are thinking, no, I'm a genius in this. I know how to marry. See, I'm a man. Everything about me is functional. Let me marry. But then when you get inside, then you find that it's a space where you're not equipped. You're not learned. It's like I've said it's like two fools coming together. That's the worst thing. You can imagine two illiterates coming together to do an exam. You can imagine how strong that E will be, E squared. And that is the problem we are having today.
Yeah.
People know very little about marriages because we are never taught in school. You find somebody has scored a very good grade in maybe a university. You're a doctor, you're this, you're that. You're so good in your profession, but because you've been well educated in that area,
Yeah.
then when you come to this other area, this for me it's a profession, and it's a profession where people who enter are not learned, they're not qualified. Yeah. So for me, I thought there should be a school of marriage.
Yeah.
Because again, these married guys and those who are doing well, they are just quiet. They are not talking. But when there is those ones who have scandals are very loud.
Extremely loud.
And that's the reason as to why people are saying that marriage is a scam. Because you'll find a celeb having a scandal. Somebody is just like, I think it's like the devil just raises some guys
That's
to
true.
just become celebs, to become so popular, and then create a drama.
Ha.
And then now that thing affects a lot of
A lot
people.
of people.
And everybody's like, no, marriage is a scam, it's a scam. Oh, even mine was a scam. Even my uncle's was a scam. Even my parents was a scam. This thing can't work, yeah? So when you talk about marriage versus wedding, we are like, what people really focus and put a lot of energies to have a very good wedding, neglecting the fact that they're getting into a long-term relationship, which is a school.
Yeah.
First is what they needed. You cannot learn anything before, but at least you need to have a certain capacity that you are entering into a space where literacy is needed. So I talked about a certificate we are given, and I find it illegitimate. It's like you get a degree before you get to class. I've called it graduation or certification before the coursework. Like for myself, I got a certificate, and actually it was put somewhere here. But I later realized it was an illegitimate cert. It's an error. I found it as an error because that cert should indicate that I'm qualified to get into that profession. But now after this, the next moment, you're looking for divorce.
That's true.
You get, yeah? So that's what I've addressed in the wedding versus marriage. Yeah.
And it's powerful because I think we get so distracted by the drama of the day.
Yeah.
And me being married, I can tell the people clearly that after that day is over, you wonder what was all the stress for.
Yeah.
In fact, all the way through the wedding, you can't wait for it to end.
Yes, you want it to end.
You want it now to end because you're tired, you're exhausted,
Yeah.
it's been a long day.
Yes.
So if we focus so much on the drama, oh my goodness. The next day, some people will spend all their money on
Yes.
on the event, and
Yes.
then they don't even have money to start a marriage.
Yes, it's true.
So I think it's the reality on the ground. And I think, unfortunately for us, we have social media. Social media is trying to portray, and I think it's important for us to touch on that, the social media aspect when it comes to dysfunctional families, and for teenagers especially, because they're exposed to so much on a daily basis.
Yes, yes.
So maybe talk about it, and how that can actually lead to adverse effects even in the future when they're exposed to so much online.
Yeah, true. I was doing some research, and I was finding that the blueprint of God is what these things take away from people. You find that I'm supposed to be normal, but something like pornography, for example, and these are the things that are so, if you look at the sites that are visited more, is the porn sites and all that. And so this will really contribute for me in two ways. One, taking away the blueprint of God in a person, because we are supposed to be normal. There's a normal way a person is created by God.
Yeah.
There are normal desires. There are normal, sexual behaviors. But when you talk of a person who's masturbating like, 3 times in a day, that's very exhausting. And that person is likely never able to get into a functional family, because they cannot relate normally. It cannot be a normal relationship. And the anxieties. And actually, through research, one of the main causes of suicide also is masturbation. Because what it does, first it draws from the spirit man. There's that, it's like I take a knife and then I start stabbing my soul. I'm stabbing myself and I'm bleeding. And again, I keep on stabbing myself again. At least I can stab myself once. But then I repeat again at 10. I repeat again at night, And so, the issue of guilt is so key in causing, suicide. And also the helplessness. Like these guys feel, I want to stop this, but they cannot stop. I just decided, okay, let me do some research, because AI seems to have all the solutions to our problems, and see what they say about something like masturbation. And you know what the answers I got? Like the benefits. You get. And I was like, this knowledge, that is integrated into this system. I mean, it's not the right knowledge. They are knowledgeable. They're so knowledgeable in other areas. But when it comes to, a Christian, for example, do we have our own AIs which we can depend on? Because you can imagine now a young person who believes that AI is the solution to all our problems. And they've seen that AI tells us this and this. And so when it comes to the internet and the social medias and all that, you have noted there is a great decline of marriages lately. Like in churches, maybe the last time you attended a wedding was sometimes maybe kitambo kidogo. There are causes, there are reasons, because we would be experiencing more marriages today because the population is higher.
That's true.
And I think more beautiful people are born. I hear that the beautiful ones are not yet born. So I think after we were born, there were more beautiful ones who are born. So, and the population basically is higher. You would expect more people to get into that space. But the more we continue, as time progresses, the numbers they reduce because of such influences as those of social media, weird behaviors in sexuality. Because people don't just watch porn for the sake of porn. Whoever designs it knows that they want to mess up the lives of these people.
Yeah.
And maybe I felt this is quite important. One of the main causes of lesbianism is dysfunctional families. Like where a father was beating a mother, and these girls have lost trust in men, and now they cannot trust men. So now combine that with social medias and all the negativity, because there are so many voices. There are so many voices, but which voice do we listen to?
Yeah.
Which voice do we trust? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
Because I think Gen Zs the other day said they fear two things, marriage and hot porridge. I don't know how the two relate.
At the end, the kick of a donkey.
Oh, that too. It's interesting. It may look funny, but the truth is it just shows that if marriage is being put in the same category as a hot porridge and the kick of a donkey, then we have lost all seriousness. But anyway, let's now talk a little bit about where it all begins. Because for there to be a dysfunctional family, there are dysfunctional individuals.
Yes.
So let's talk about the person. How should I work on myself? How should I, even ask for God's help? What needs to be my day-to-day activities, my perspectives, my mindset, to ensure that when I get into a marriage, when I decide even to choose a partner, I am doing it the right way so that I save the next generation,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. For me, one is very critical. When you're choosing a partner,
Yeah.
to involve God and have emotional intelligence. Because like that emotion, when we were dating, those first days, you meet a person and then you feel so good and you're like, wow, this is love. And then after some 6 months, you are like, I'm not feeling that thing. What is it? It's like I've stopped loving this person. And then you get another one, and then now you feel the same feeling to another one. And this is something I've addressed in the book. Like Solomon spent all his life jumping from one relationship to the next,
The next.
looking for that dopamine level. And that's a similar thing to addiction, taking a drug and something.
Wow.
And that's why people cheat, by the way. That's why people cheat, because they are looking for that feeling elsewhere. So it's very critical to understand why that feeling doesn't last for long. And that is not love, it's lust. That's not it. Because if you look at the context of the Bible, love is patient, love is kind, it endures, I don't know what, so many things about God has defined about love. And even looking at the example of Jesus Christ at the cross, that love, like there was nothing to smile about. There was no dopamine at the cross to feel, oh, I'm feeling so good because I love you, that's why I'm dying. No, it was so painful. It was a mess, yeah? And so it's very critical for us to have to involve God, because God is able to get into our minds and manage our thinking, so that our thinking is not based on emotions. I'm not doing this because I feel lust, or let's maybe call it love, because I feel the key love, which will disappear after some time. But you're also based on consulting God, because God uses thoughts more to help us to make good decisions. And so also it's very critical to be emotionally intelligent. That's very key, because like I said, we need positive emotions throughout. However much sadness can come, it can be managed by our positivity. It's like it finds us with a shock absorber. You see, like the shock absorbers of a V8 and that of a tuk-tuk are different. So you need to have a shock absorber of a V8 when it comes to the emotional intelligence, such that emotions, by the way, are very critical in decision making, because they give thoughts a clear line of thoughts. You can think clearly with positive emotions. That's why someone with depression will think about so many other things, like suicide. So there is emotional reasoning, but it affects so much on our cognitive, on our thinking and our actions. And so having emotional intelligence is very critical. So that, like now, maybe I get an emotion that tells me, Isaac, you need to divorce. Then there's a thought that will challenge that. Hey, look, what are the consequences? Look at the process of remarrying. I've done research to involve the logic. Cognitive is also the logic. For example, I realized that currently 50% of marriages are going down. Higher, the first marriage. The same person, if they remarry, the chances of them falling apart again is around 60 something percent. If he falls, if they go to a third one, the percentage goes higher and higher and higher. So that logic helps me now to understand that it's not really like maybe I really need a different person, but there are things, there's a capacity I need to build. There is the emotional capacity and the cognitive capacity. And for me, it's better to build this capacity before you get in, because after you are in, now things are a bit complicated. There are children involved, there is what and there is what. So it's very good to understand from the outside. And also this one will come from knowledge. Like now we've written this kind of books. In this book, I've referred 5 more books, like another one called Dating, Boundaries in Dating. I mean, you really need to build your mental capacity knowing like there is an exam that is coming. Like you study in advance. You don't just study like, I have 1 week left now to do the exam. Let me start now studying there. No, it's a capacity that you build over a period of time. And then by the time the exam is coming, you're equipped. And finally, like, it's very good for us to remain with God's blueprint, because God is the author of marriages. So if I indulge into things like pornography, sexual sin and all that, it will definitely take away the blueprint of God. And so by the time I'm meeting the person I'm supposed to marry, then I'm distorted. And then I cannot be able to build that godly family that God desires out of me. Yes.
Wow. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
We definitely need God's help in
Yeah.
all this
Yes.
to make the right choice and to even be the right person. Because if you're not the right person, then it can be a mess. But I see we just have a few minutes to go. And maybe a person is watching us this morning and they've grown up in a dysfunctional family. It's really been hard for them to cope, and they don't even know how to love right. They don't know how to start a family well. They don't even know how to be a mother or a father to their children the way they should be. What would you tell them?
Oh, thank you. One is that you need to, it's more about you than anyone else. You really need to build your capacity. You need to, get help. Get this kind of books. I'll tell you later where the books are found. And build your capacity. From the time I came, I'm also a product of pain. I've gone through a lot when I was a child. I've gone through so much. But at some point, I realized that I am the one who really mattered. If anything will be sorted, it will start from me. I started forgiving myself. I started reading. I started researching. I really understand myself.
Yeah.
And I became my best friend. Yes, by the way, I take myself for an out.
Wow.
Alone. And I say, Isaac, what do you want to eat today? I need fish. Yes, I'll buy you fish. You've done very well, yeah? And by the way, congratulations for the book. Sometimes we write this kind of books. There's nobody to tell us congratulations. Even the very close people to you.
Yeah.
But now I'm the first one to tell myself congratulations. So I've been able to develop to love myself,
Yeah.
to forgive myself, because I've also made a lot of mistakes in the past. There are things I should not have done, but I did. But now what do I do when I did them?
Yeah. They're in the past.
They're in the past. I don't want to dwell in the past.
Yes.
And I forgive myself. So before I'm able to, I disagree with what my CRE teacher was saying, that love your neighbor first before yourself. He was really misleading us, because that love has to come from deep inside me.
True.
I cannot donate blood, and I have a problem with blood. Maybe I'm anemic. Which blood now? There's a time I was very thin. It's only by the grace of God the body changed. And then I had gone to donate blood.
Yeah.
And these guys told me, hey, no. You can't. I was so disappointed. Why?
Yeah.
I have a lot of blood inside. I can feel it. I can feel. But they told me, no, you're very thin.
Were you going for the soda and bread afterwards?
Yes, that was a target. I was hungry, by the way, and I felt, hey, I need a soda and a bread.
Okay.
So this guy told me, no, you are quite thin. And I told myself, when I grow up,
Yeah.
I want to be fat. And I think I'm a bit fat kidogo because of that experience.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Yes. It was a bit traumatic.
Yes.
And so you cannot give that which you don't have.
That's true.
You can't give love you don't have. You can't give joy you don't have. Today I just have a lot of joy. You just be around me, you'll just be happy.
Yeah.
Because that's what I have. So it starts with you, but it's a lot of work to do. It's a journey.
Sure.
You have to decide, I want to walk this journey. And then now walking through the journey will really build your capacity. And then that way now you're able to, yeah.
Wow. I think that was a powerful parting shot. And, let the people know where they can get the book. I know people are wondering, how can they land on the book? And most importantly, what's the one thing you want them to pick the moment they catch this book?
Yes. Yeah, one of the things I want them to really pick as a psychologist is that self-love. Regardless you've been divorced, or you divorced, or you separated, and you want to maybe build another relationship, or you don't want, you're just loved. God just loves you just the way you are. Like there is a chapter there called Completed with Finality. So one of the things I would want you to do is to create a good relationship with yourself and with God. So that even if, because there are some relationships that definitely won't work. Some you'll push and you'll find this guy probably is a narcissist or something. They're not really maybe, going to work it out. But one thing I want you to pick is that ability to love yourself and to more so have a relationship with God, have a close relationship with God, so that if there is any relationship you build around you, it will have a firm foundation. And so the book is found at Nuria Bookshop. Is in Bazaar, first floor, 812, room 812. That's where the book is mostly found.
Okay.
And
Yeah, what about online? Can people
online?
interact
Yes,
with
a
you?
pen to paper. You can type the website pen to paper.
Okay.
It is the soft copy. Also, when you buy this book, you scan. It will take you to the website where you can be able to do the purchase. Yes.
Awesome. And how can people interact with you?
Yeah,
Social media?
actually, on social media. By the way, nowadays I'm in TikTok.
Oh, really?
Isaac underscore psychology underscore Isaac.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm making a lot of noise.
Wow, that's great.
There's
We love
someone who's
noise.
helping me.
Oh, really?
And now I'm like, wow, I'm making a lot of good noise.
Yeah.
Necessary noise.
But I'm going
Kelele
to
za
follow
ushindi.
you.
Yeah, psychologist underscore Isaac.
Okay.
And the Global Psychology Support on Facebook. We are, by the way, constructing a very nice website.
Yeah.
It's going to be a school.
Wow.
A school of thoughts and emotions, and also research. We love research because I lead a company called GPS, Global Psychology Support. So we are pushing to, I was thinking, what can we do to the world? And so we are creating a curriculum. Like today, I believe we've learned a lot. And so this curriculum is going to come in with emotional intelligence, cognitive intelligence, and all that. And also we are at a place called Spamol, Ruiru, for a second floor. We have a farm there called H Lovers Nest. You can come for counseling, individual counseling, a family therapy. We are a number of specialists, not just me. And also we can share my number.
Yes.
Yeah. You can reach us on 0724 382 346. 0724 382 346. We'll be able to assist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I've gotten to learn a lot, and I pray that even for our viewers back at home, they've gotten to pick on some amazing nuggets from this amazing book of yours. I believe they can reach out. I think Pale TikTok, they can inbox psychology underscore Isaac. I'm going to follow you so that I can hear the noise that you're making. But God bless you. Asante sana, Isaac,
Karibu
for
sana.
coming through. May God bless you.
Amen.
And take this book to the world.
Amen.
We need that.
Amen.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
for our viewers, asanteni sana. I see it is already 1 minute past 9. We should be out of here already. But asanteni sana for tuning in this day. May God bless you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. But one thing that I've picked even from just a summary of what we've discussed, you are not in control of the things that have happened to you before, but you're in control of what now happens to you. Your responsibility is to heal. Don't stay in the past. Even if you grew up in a dysfunctional family, maybe you are not in control of that. Maybe you could not prevent it from happening, but now you have the responsibility to heal and to do better for yourself. So ensure you love God and also you love yourself. I believe from there, everything will flow from right there. So thank you so much for tuning in. May God bless you so very much. Tomorrow we have Beyond the Melody, and we are going to be having Vanisi Uwase. You guys have probably seen her doing some street worship in the CBD, and tomorrow, that is, she's going to be coming through, and we're going to have a conversation about her new song. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know it's going to be amazing. Tuonane kesho. My name is Beatrice Nudi.